The Galactic Council chamber floated in the darkness of space like a jewel. The massive station orbited a yellow star that belonged to no one. Inside, delegates from 47 different species gathered in the great circular hall. Sunlight streamed through the transparent dome above, casting patterns across the polished floor. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood near the human delegation's seats. She was a small woman with dark hair pulled back in a neat style. Her face showed calm patience as she listened to the Thaxian representative drone on about trade routes. Around her, beings of every shape and size filled the chamber. Some had fur, others had scales, and a few seemed to be made of living crystal. Humanity had been part of the Galactic Council for 15 years now. In that time, they had earned a reputation as the friendly Deathworlders. Other species found this amusing. Earth was classified as a Class 12 Deathworld, a planet so dangerous that most council members would die within hours of landing there. Yet humans smiled easily and offered help to anyone who asked. The Phylixian ambassador, a tall being covered in soft purple fur, leaned toward Chen. "Your people are so strange," she whispered. "You come from a world of storms and predators, yet you are the most peaceful species here." Chen smiled. "We learned that working together is better than fighting." This was true, though not the complete truth. But the Council did not need to know everything about humanity. Not yet. Perhaps not ever. The session continued with normal business. The Deltharian Prime Minister discussed mining rights. The Zafani delegate requested aid for a farming crisis. Human representatives took notes and voted on each matter with careful consideration. Everything was peaceful and orderly as it had been for years. Then the doors sealed shut. The sound echoed through the chamber like a thunderclap. Every delegate looked up in surprise. The transparent dome above began to darken as blast shields slid into place. Within seconds, the chamber was cut off from the rest of the station. "What is happening?" the Thaxian representative called out. Lights flickered and changed to a dim red. On every screen around the chamber, the same image appeared. It was of Vryn, a member of the Hivemind collective that occupied 3 systems near the galactic rim. The Vryn looked like an insect standing upright, with 4 arms and compound eyes that glittered in the light. "Honored Council," the Vryn spoke, and its voice came from hundreds of mouths at once. "We have seized control of this station. You are now our prisoners." Panic spread through the chamber. Delegates jumped to their feet, shouting questions and demands. Security personnel from various species reached for weapons that were not there. The council chamber had always been a place of peace where weapons were forbidden. Ambassador Chen remained seated. Her eyes tracked the positions of every camera, every screen, every exit. Her hands rested calmly on the armrests of her chair. But her fingers drummed once, twice, 3 times. A signal. Around the chamber, the 12 human security personnel shifted their stances. To anyone watching, it looked like nervous movement. In reality, each human was now cataloging threats, measuring distances, and calculating response times. "You cannot do this," the Thaxian representative shouted at the screens. "The Council will not negotiate with terrorists." "We are not terrorists," the Vryn replied. "We are scientists. For 3 cycles, we have been gathering genetic samples from inferior species. Your council discovered our work and threatened us. This is unacceptable. We will continue our research." "You were kidnapping citizens," the Deltharian Prime Minister said, his voice shaking with anger. "Hundreds of beings have disappeared because of you." "Specimens," the Vryn corrected. "They were specimens. And now you are all specimens. We control life support, weapons systems, and the station's drives. Attempt to resist, and we will vent the atmosphere. Attempt to call for help, and we will execute delegates at random. You will remain here until your governments agree to our terms." The screens went dark. The chamber erupted in chaos. Delegates shouted, argued, and demanded action. Some species huddled together in fear. Others tried to contact their ships only to find all communications blocked. Ambassador Chen stood slowly. She walked to the center of the chamber where all could see her. "Everyone, please calm down," she said. Her voice was not loud, but something in it made others stop and listen. "The humans will fix this," the Phylixian ambassador said with hope in her voice. "You are clever. You can talk to them. Make them see reason." Chen looked at her friend and felt sadness. The Phylixians were such gentle beings. They had never known true predators on their world. Most of the council species came from safe planets where the biggest danger was bad weather or food shortage. "I will try," Chen said. She activated the communication panel. Vrin Collective, this is Ambassador Chen of Earth. Let us discuss terms. There is no need for violence. The Vrin appeared on the screens again. Humanity. Yes, we studied your records. A death world species that pretends to be civilized. You make us laugh. You have no weapons here, no soldiers, no power. You are as helpless as the others. More so, perhaps. Your bodies are fragile and weak compared to what you face on your own world. Here in our trap you are nothing. We prefer peace, Chen said carefully. But if you harm any delegate, there will be consequences. Threats? From humans? The Vrin's laughter sounded like rattling shells. You have been on the council for 15 years. We have watched you. Always talking, always compromising, always backing down. You are sheep pretending to be wolves. We are not afraid of you. Chen opened her mouth to respond, but the screens changed. They showed a corridor on the station. A Deltharian delegate walked there confused and lost. He must have been in the restroom when the lockdown began. Vrin soldiers appeared in the corridor, their weapons raised. No, the Deltharian Prime Minister screamed from the chamber. That is my cousin. A demonstration, the Vrin said. The weapons fired. The Deltharian fell. The chamber fell silent. Not the silence of peace, but the silence of shock and horror. Several delegates made sounds of grief. Others simply stared at the screens. Ambassador Chen closed her eyes for one long moment. When she opened them, something had changed. The warmth was gone. Her face became a mask, expressionless and cold. Her body language shifted in ways that made the nearby delegates step back without knowing why. Chen reached up and touched the small device behind her ear. She spoke in English, and her voice was ice. Protocol Apex. Authorization Red Eden. Around the chamber, every human security guard straightened. The change in them was immediate and terrifying. They moved from relaxed watchfulness to something else entirely. Predators who had been sleeping were now awake. The Phylixian ambassador stared at Chen. Sarah? What is happening? What does that mean? Chen turned to look at her, and the Phylixian took an involuntary step backward. The eyes that looked at her were not the eyes of her friend. They were the eyes of something ancient and dangerous. It means, Chen said softly, that we gave peace a chance. They chose violence instead. Now they will learn why humanity doesn't need to pretend to be wolves. We already are. On the screens, the Vrin spoke again. You see? We are serious. Meet our demands or more will die. Chen looked at the screen and smiled. It was not a friendly smile. You just made the biggest mistake in your species' history. You killed someone under council protection. You threatened my colleagues, and you called us weak. What will you do, human? The Vrin mocked. Talk us to death? No, Chen said quietly. We're going to show you what a real predator looks like. The Vrin cut the communication feed, leaving the delegates in the darkened chamber. Most species huddled together, seeking comfort from their own kind. Some wept quietly for the murdered Deltharian. Others sat in stunned silence, trying to process what had happened. The human delegation moved differently. Each of the 12 security personnel had taken positions around the chamber. They did not huddle or panic. They stood perfectly still, watching everything with eyes that tracked movement like sensors locked on targets. Ambassador Chen pulled out her personal tablet. To anyone watching, she appeared to be checking messages. In reality, she was accessing systems that the Council had never known existed. Her fingers moved quickly across the screen, entering codes that would change everything. High above the station, in the darkness of space, 3 massive shapes began to shimmer into existence. They had been there all along, hidden by stealth technology far beyond what the Council believed humans possessed. The dreadnoughts were each 2 kilometers long, bristling with weapons and armor. They had orbited the Council station in complete silence for 7 years. On Earth, the emergency broadcast reached every human on the planet simultaneously. In homes and offices, on ships and stations, humans stopped what they were doing. The message was simple. Apex protocol activated. All civilians to designated safety zones. All military assets to full readiness. Rules of engagement. Authorized. Across 47 worlds where humans lived and worked, the transformation began. Human diplomats excused themselves from meetings. Human merchants closed their shops and disappeared into back rooms. Human scientists saved their work and locked their laboratories. The mask of friendly cooperation fell away. In the council chamber, the Phylixian ambassador approached Chen cautiously. Sarah, please. What is happening? You are frightening us. Chen looked up from her tablet. Her expression softened slightly. I am sorry, my friend. I wish you did not have to see this. But the Vryn have forced our hand. They think we are weak because we choose peace. They are about to learn the difference between cannot and will not. I do not understand, the Phylixian said. Chen gestured to the empty air. Tell me, what do you know about human military capabilities? The Phylixian thought for a moment. You have a defense force. Perhaps 20 ships? Enough to protect your own system. You have always said you prefer to invest in science and exploration rather than weapons. And if I told you that was a lie? Chen asked quietly. The Phylixian's fur rippled with shock. You lied to the council? Not a lie, Chen corrected. An omission. We do prefer science and exploration, but we are also very, very good at war. We simply chose not to show you that side of ourselves. We wanted to be your friends, not your conquerors or your protectors through fear. Around the chamber, other delegates began to notice the change in human behavior. A Zephany representative pointed at one of the human security guards. Why is he standing like that? Like a hunter watching prey? Because that is exactly what he is, Chen said. She raised her voice so all could hear. Everyone, please listen carefully. You are all about to witness something that we hoped you would never have to see. Humanity is not what you think we are. We have been very careful to appear non-threatening. We smile and compromise and work within your rules because we respect you. But make no mistake, when someone threatens our friends, we remember what we really are. And what is that? The Thaxian representative asked nervously. Apex predators, Chen said simply. Earth's dominant species. We did not reach the top of our food chain by being gentle. We reached it by being the most efficient hunters in our planet's history. We are pursuit predators. Do you know what that means? The delegates looked at each other in confusion. Chen continued. It means we do not ambush prey and hope for a quick kill like most predators. We chase it. For hours, for days if necessary. We do not have the strongest bite or the sharpest claws. But we have something better. We have endurance. We have intelligence. We have cooperation. And most importantly, we never, ever give up. She tapped her tablet. On the screens around the chamber, new images appeared. They showed the space outside the station. 3 enormous ships hung in the darkness, their weapons powering up with pulses of blue light. By the void, someone whispered. Where did those come from? They have been there the entire time, Chen said. Watching, waiting, just in case. Did you really think we would send our ambassadors to a space station without protection? We trust you, but we are not fools. The Deltharian Prime Minister stood up, his body shaking with emotion. You hid warships near the council station. How many other secrets have you kept from us? Chen met his eyes. Many, and I am genuinely sorry for that. But consider this. In 15 years, have we ever used these secrets against you? Have we ever threatened you or demanded special treatment? Have we ever done anything except try to be good members of the council? The Prime Minister hesitated. No, you have been honorable. We have been honorable because we chose to be, Chen said. But the Vryn killed your cousin. They threatened to kill more. And they made one critical mistake. They assumed that choosing peace meant we were incapable of war. They are wrong. On her tablet, confirmations began appearing. Human forces around the galaxy were moving into position. She had access to capabilities that would shock the Council. Not just warships, but intelligence networks, cyber warfare divisions, and special forces units that had been operating in the shadows for years. Every human embassy had hidden weapons and armor. Every human trade ship could transform into a combat vessel within hours. Every human cultural exchange program included intelligence gathering. Humanity had been preparing for the worst while hoping for the best. Chen touched her ear device again. All units, this is Ambassador Chen. The situation is confirmed hostile. We have 1 murdered council member and 200 delegates held hostage. The enemy is the Vryn Collective. They control station security and life support. Authorization code Red Eden is active. Rules of engagement protect all council species. Neutralize Vryn forces. No council casualties. Begin operation. Around the chamber, the human security guards moved to new positions. They were no longer just standing watch. They were preparing for combat. One of them began checking the walls, looking for structural weaknesses or hidden passages. Another was scanning for electronic signals. A third was watching the sealed doors with the patience of someone who could wait forever. The Phylixian ambassador clutched Chen's arm. Sarah, please. What are you going to do? Chen looked at her friend with genuine warmth. We are going to save everyone. All of you. Because that is what friends do. But we are going to do it our way. The human way. And I am afraid that what you see might change how you think of us. Will you hurt the Vryn? The Felixian asked. Only as much as necessary, Chen said. We are predators, but we are not monsters. We will give them a chance to surrender. But if they refuse, we will hunt them down. Every single one. And we will not stop until you are all safe. Across the station, human special forces units were already moving. They had infiltrated the station years ago, hidden among the maintenance crews and support staff. They wore civilian clothes and friendly smiles, but in their quarters, they kept equipment that could breach any door, cut through any barrier, and defeat any enemy. The hunt was about to begin. Chen pulled up a tactical map on her tablet. It showed the station's layout in perfect detail. She had schematics that even the station's builders did not know existed. Humanity had mapped every corridor, every ventilation shaft, every power conduit. They had run simulations of combat scenarios hundreds of times. You planned this, the Thaxian representative accused. You planned for this exact situation. We planned for every situation, Chen admitted. That is what smart predators do. We think ahead. We prepare. We never assume that good intentions are enough, and right now you should be very glad that we did. The screens flickered and the Vryn appeared again. We detect ships approaching the station. Power them down immediately or we will execute another delegate. Chen smiled at the screen. Go ahead. Execute someone else. See what happens, the chamber gasped. Even the other humans looked surprised by her cold response. You would let us kill another innocent being? The Vryn asked, confused. No, Chen said. I am calling your bluff. You need us alive to use as leverage. Kill too many and you lose your only advantage. You are not holding hostages. You are trapped in a room with 200 witnesses and 12 human operators. Your species thinks it is clever. Let me show you what clever really looks like. The Vryn's image on the screen flickered with what might have been confusion. Their hive mind struggled to understand Chen's response. They had studied human behavior for years, watching peaceful negotiations and friendly compromises. This cold calculation was not in their data. You are bluffing, the Vryn finally said. Humans value life. It is your weakness. We value innocent life, Chen corrected. But you stopped being innocent the moment you took hostages. Now you are just targets. Across the station, human special forces moved through the corridors like ghosts. They wore adaptive camouflage that shifted colors to match their surroundings. Their boots made no sound on the metal floors. Each team of 4 moved in perfect coordination, communicating through hand signals and subtle gestures that required no words. Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez led Alpha Team through a maintenance shaft. His team had been posing as atmospheric technicians for 3 years. In that time, they had mapped every inch of the station's infrastructure. They knew where the Vryn had placed their forces because humans had been watching, learning, and preparing. Security checkpoint ahead, whispered Specialist Kim Chen through the neural link. Every human soldier had a chip that allowed silent communication. The technology was far beyond what the Council knew existed. 4 Vryn guards. Standard weapons. They looked nervous. Rodriguez smiled in the darkness. They should be. Begin approach pattern Delta 7. The team moved forward. They did not rush. Rushing was for amateurs. Professional hunters moved with patience and precision. They had learned this from watching wolves coordinate attacks, from studying how ancient human tribes brought down prey much larger than themselves. The Vryn guards never saw them coming. In the council chamber, the delegates watched screens that showed different parts of the station. Chen had hacked into the security feeds, giving everyone a view of what was happening. She wanted them to see. They needed to understand. There, the Zafani representative pointed. In Corridor 7 Beta, something is moving. The image showed a Vryn patrol walking through a hallway. They carried weapons that could burn through armor. They moved in a tight formation, covering all directions. They looked professional and dangerous. Then the lights went out. When they came back on 3 seconds later, all 4 Vryn were on the ground, unconscious. 4 humans stood over them, weapons trained on the exits. They had moved so fast that the cameras barely caught it. How did they do that? Someone asked in awe. Humans have excellent night vision compared to most species, Chen explained. We evolved to hunt during twilight hours. 3 seconds of darkness is more than enough time for us to act. Another screen showed a different section. Vryn soldiers were fortifying a position near the life support controls. They had barriers and heavy weapons. It looked impossible to approach without being seen. But humans did not need to approach from the expected direction. The ceiling panel above the Vrin position silently opened. A small device dropped through, releasing a gas that made the Vrin dizzy and confused. Before they could raise an alarm, human soldiers dropped from above, moving with acrobatic precision. Within seconds, the position was secure. They came from above, the Thaxian representative noted. The Vrin were watching the doors and corridors. They forgot to watch up. Most species do, Chen said. Humans are climbers. We think in 3 dimensions because our ancestors lived in trees before they walked on the ground. We never forget to look up, or down, or behind. We are always aware of our surroundings because on Earth, danger can come from anywhere. The Felixian ambassador watched the screens with growing unease. This is not fighting. This is hunting. Yes, Chen agreed. Fighting implies equals meeting in combat. This is not equal. The Vrin prepared to fight a council that follows rules and avoids violence. They did not prepare to face a species that has been perfecting warfare for 200,000 years. On another screen, a group of Vrin tried to flee down a corridor. They ran as fast as their legs could carry them, desperate to escape the human forces closing in. But no matter how fast they ran, the humans kept pace. They did not seem to tire. They just kept coming with mechanical inevitability. Why do the humans not run faster? A delegate asked. They could catch them easily. Humans are persistence hunters, Chen explained. We do not need to be faster than our prey. We just need to be more patient. Those Vrin will run until they are exhausted. Then we will take them. It is how our ancestors hunted animals much faster than themselves. We chased them until they collapsed from exhaustion. Some hunts took days. We never stopped. We never gave up. That is what made us apex predators. The Vrin on the screen began to slow. Their movements became sluggish. One stumbled and fell. The others tried to help, but they were too tired. The human soldiers caught up to them and secured them without violence. The Vrin were too exhausted to resist. They are not killing them, the Deltharian Prime Minister observed. There was surprise in his voice. We do not kill unless necessary, Chen said. We are predators, but we are civilized predators. Every Vrin captured alive is one we can question, one we can learn from, and one who might surrender and convince others to do the same. Dead enemies tell us nothing. The screens showed the operation unfolding across the entire station. Human teams moved with perfect coordination. They communicated without words, understood each other's intentions through the smallest gestures. They covered each other's blind spots automatically. They functioned as a single organism with many parts. Pack tactics, Chen said, noticing the delegates' confusion. Humans evolved as social hunters. Alone we are dangerous. Together we are unstoppable. We can predict what our team members will do because we have trained together for years. We trust each other completely. That is our greatest strength. A Vrin commander appeared on the main screen. Humans, cease your attack immediately. We still control the life support. We will vent the atmosphere if you continue. Chen checked her tablet. Actually, you lost control of life support 4 minutes ago. My engineers hacked your systems. You just did not notice because we wanted you to think you still had leverage. The Vrin's mandibles clicked in distress. Impossible. Our security is absolute. Your security was designed to stop conventional attacks, Chen said. Humans are not conventional. We wrote the virus that cracked your systems 3 years ago, just in case we ever needed it. We have been inside your network since then, watching and learning. We know every move you made before you made it. The chamber fell silent as the delegates absorbed this information. The humans had been spying on everyone. They had capabilities no one suspected. They had been preparing for war while smiling and shaking hands. How many other species have you infiltrated? The Thaxian representative demanded. All of them, Chen admitted. Not because we wanted to harm you, because we needed to protect you. The galaxy is not as safe as you believe. There are threats out there that the Council never sees because we deal with them quietly. Pirates, slavers, hostile AI remnants, rogue military groups. We handle them before they reach you. That is our gift to the Council. Protection you never knew you needed. On the screens, human forces reached the primary Vrin command center. It was the most fortified position on the station, with blast doors and automated defenses. The Vrin inside believed they were safe. They were wrong. The human team did not attack the door. Instead, they cut through the wall next to it. The molecular saw made no sound as it sliced through the reinforced metal. Within minutes they had opened a hole large enough to enter. Flashbangs went in first, then smoke grenades, then the humans. The Vryn inside were disoriented and confused. They fired their weapons wildly, hitting nothing. The humans moved through the smoke like they could see perfectly, taking down each Vryn with precise, non-lethal strikes. "Smoke does not blind them?" a delegate asked. "We can filter it," Chen explained. "Our equipment includes thermal imaging, sonar mapping, and air quality sensors. We do not need to see with our eyes when we have technology. We adapt. That is what humans do best." The operation took 47 minutes from start to finish. Every Vryn on the station was captured or neutralized. Not a single council delegate was harmed. The human forces moved through the station like a flood, overwhelming everything in their path with precision and coordination. When it was over, Ambassador Chen stood in the center of the chamber. "The threat is contained. You are all safe now." The delegates stared at her and the other humans with a mixture of relief, gratitude, and fear. They had been saved, but they had also seen something that would haunt them. They had seen humanity without the mask of civilization. They had seen the predators underneath. Chen saw their expressions and felt sad. "I know what you are thinking. You are wondering if you can trust us. You are wondering what else we have hidden. You are wondering if we might turn on you someday. These are reasonable questions. I cannot give you easy answers. All I can say is this: we chose to be your friends. Every day we choose it again. We hope that is enough." The Felixian ambassador approached slowly. "Sarah, are all humans like this? Are you all warriors underneath?" Chen shook her head. "No. Most humans are teachers, artists, farmers, scientists, parents. They want peace as much as you do. But when peace fails..." The council chamber doors opened for the first time in hours. Human soldiers entered, followed by medical teams from various species. The hostages were checked for injuries and given food and water. The atmosphere was strange, a mixture of relief at being rescued and uncertainty about what came next. Ambassador Chen watched as delegates reunited with their staff and security. Many hugged each other, their fear finally releasing now that the danger had passed. Others sat quietly, processing what they had witnessed. The humans had saved them, but the manner of that salvation had been disturbing to species who rarely experienced violence. The Vryn prisoners were brought into the chamber under heavy guard. There were 37 of them, representing a significant portion of the hive mind's leadership. They wore restraints that blocked their neural connections to each other. For the first time in their existence, they were alone inside their own minds. They looked terrified, the Zafani representative observed. "They should be," Chen said without sympathy. "They murdered an innocent delegate. They threatened hundreds more. They experimented on kidnapped citizens. Fear is appropriate." The Deltharian Prime Minister stood before the lead Vryn. "You killed my cousin. He was a good person. He had children. Why?" The Vryn's mandibles trembled. "We needed to demonstrate our resolve. We chose someone at random. It was not personal." "Not personal?" The Prime Minister's voice shook with rage. "His life was not personal to you? Does your species have no concept of individual value?" "We are a collective," the Vryn said. "The individual is less important than the whole." "We assumed you understood this." Chen stepped forward. "Let me explain something to you. Humans understand collectives. We have families, tribes, nations. We work together better than almost any species in the galaxy. But we never forget that each person matters. Every human who dies leaves a hole in the world. Every life has meaning. That is the difference between us. You see individuals as expendable. We see them as irreplaceable." The Vryn looked at her with compound eyes that showed confusion. "Yet you are predators. Predators kill. How can you value life while being built to end it?" "Because we choose to," Chen said. "Every single day, every human makes the choice not to hurt others. We have the capacity for terrible violence. Our history is full of wars and atrocities. But we learned from our mistakes. We decided that being able to kill does not mean we should kill. That is called civilization." She walked slowly around the Vryn prisoners, her footsteps echoing in the quiet chamber. "You studied us for years. You saw us negotiate and compromise. You thought that made us weak, but you missed the most important detail. We were not being peaceful because we were afraid of conflict. We were being peaceful because we preferred it. There is a huge difference." Another Vryn spoke up, its voice harsh. "You have proven you are dangerous. The council will fear you now. They will turn against you." Chen looked at the delegates around the chamber. Many would not meet her eyes. The Felixian ambassador looked sad. The Thaxian representative seemed angry. Others just looked confused. Perhaps, Chen admitted. That is their choice to make. We will not force them to trust us. Trust must be earned, but I want to make something very clear to all of you. She activated her tablet and projected images on the screens. They showed incidents from the past 15 years. A pirate fleet destroyed before it could attack a trade convoy. A biological weapon intercepted and neutralized. A rogue AI contained before it could spread. 17 different crises, each one stopped by human intervention. You never knew about these, Chen said. We handled them quietly. We did not ask for thanks or recognition. We did it because you are our friends and we protect our friends. That is what we have been doing for 15 years. Not spying for advantage. Not gathering intelligence to use against you. Watching for threats and stopping them before they reached you. The Thaxian representative stood up. You had no right to do that without our knowledge. We are sovereign species. You do not get to decide what dangers we face. You are correct, Chen said. We overstepped. We should have been transparent. But consider what would have happened if we had asked permission. Committees would have formed. Debates would have lasted months. By the time the council voted on action, thousands would have died. So we acted. We saved lives. And yes, we kept secrets. I apologize for that. But I do not apologize for the results. The Deltharian Prime Minister spoke quietly. How many humans are actually in your military? You claim to have only a small defense force. Chen pulled up more data. Our active military numbers approximately 2 million. We have another 5 million in reserves who can be activated within days. We have 300 warships of various classes. We have special forces, intelligence divisions, cyber warfare units, and capabilities I cannot discuss even now. By council standards, we have the third largest military in known space. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. The third largest military? Most delegates had believed humans had barely enough ships to defend their own system. But you told us, the Zafani representative started. We told you we preferred to invest in science and exploration. Chen interrupted. That was true. We do prefer it, but we also maintained a strong military because history taught us that peace must be backed by strength, hoping for the best while preparing for the worst. That is the human way. The Felixian ambassador approached Chen with tears in her large eyes. Sarah, we were friends. How could you lie to me? Chen felt genuine pain at her friend's distress. I did not lie about our friendship. That was always real. But I could not tell you about the military capabilities. Not because I did not trust you personally, but because information spreads. If everyone knew how strong humanity was, our relationships would have changed. Some species would have feared us. Others would have tried to use us as weapons against their enemies. We wanted to be equals, not protectors or threats, so we hid our strength and showed you only our friendship. Was any of it real? The Felixian asked. All of it was real, Chen said. The cultural exchanges, the scientific collaborations, the trade agreements, the late-night conversations about art and philosophy. Those were never false. We genuinely care about the council. We genuinely want peace. We just also happen to be very good at war. Both things can be true at the same time. One of the captured Vrin laughed, a sound like scraping metal. They fear you now, humans. You have destroyed your own credibility. The council will never trust you again. Chen looked at the Vrin coldly. Perhaps. But they are alive to make that choice. If we had not been here, if we had been as weak as you believed, you would have killed them all eventually. Your experiments would have continued. More innocents would have suffered. So yes, the council might fear us now, but they will also remember who saved them when no one else could. She turned to address all the delegates. I will not make excuses. Humanity has kept secrets. We have maintained military forces beyond what we disclosed. We have operated in the shadows. All of this is true. But I ask you to judge us by our actions, not just our omissions. In 15 years, have we conquered anyone? Have we threatened anyone? Have we used our power to take advantage of anyone? Or have we been loyal friends who happen to have secrets? The Thaxian representative stood again. The council will need to discuss this. There must be consequences for such deception. Agreed, Chen said. We are prepared to face whatever judgment the council decides. But first we need to address the immediate situation. The Vrin Collective still exists. Their main fleet is 3 systems away. Their genetic experiments are ongoing on multiple worlds. This crisis is not over. It has just begun. She pulled up star maps showing Vrin territory. We have intelligence on all their facilities. We know where they are holding the kidnapped citizens. We know where their research is conducted. And we know that the only way to stop them permanently is to hit all locations simultaneously. They must not have time to destroy evidence or execute prisoners. The Prime Minister looked at the maps. You are proposing a military strike on a council member species? I am proposing a rescue operation to save kidnapped citizens and stop ongoing crimes against sentient beings, Chen corrected. The Vrin chose to violate every law the council holds sacred. They chose to murder a delegate. They declared themselves enemies of civilization. This is not aggression. This is justice. Justice or revenge? The Zafani representative asked. Chen met their eyes. Both, perhaps. Does that make it wrong? Your people teach that actions have consequences. The Vrin's actions have led them here. They made their choices. Now they face the results. Around the chamber, delegates argued quietly among themselves. Some believed the humans were right. Others feared that allowing such action would set a dangerous precedent. Still others simply did not know what to think. The Felixian ambassador spoke into the silence. I am angry at humanity for keeping secrets. I am frightened of what you are capable of doing. But I am also grateful that you saved my life and the lives of everyone here. I do not know how to reconcile these feelings. That is fair, Chen said gently. You do not have to reconcile them immediately. Take time to process. Talk to your people. Decide what you believe. All we ask is that you judge us fairly and remember that we chose to be here. We chose to help. 3 days passed before the council could reconvene officially. The station returned to normal operation, but nothing felt normal anymore. Delegates walked the corridors with new awareness, seeing human security personnel differently. Those friendly faces now seemed to hide dangerous capabilities. Ambassador Chen stood in her quarters looking out at the stars. She had not slept much. The weight of exposure pressed on her, 15 years of careful diplomacy, gone in one violent afternoon. But what choice had there been? Let the Vrin kill more delegates to preserve the secret? That was no choice at all. A chime announced a visitor. The Felixian ambassador entered looking tired and sad. I am not sure what to say to you, the Felixian admitted. Part of me is still angry. But another part understands why you did what you did. Chen gestured to the seating area. I do not expect forgiveness. I just hope for understanding. Tell me something honestly, the Felixian said. If the Vrin had not attacked, would you ever have told us the truth? Chen considered the question carefully. I do not know. We discussed it many times. Some humans believed we should be transparent. Others argued that the secret kept everyone safe. There was never a consensus. So we maintained the status quo and hoped we would never be forced to reveal ourselves. But you were forced, the Felixian said. And now everything is different. Yes, Chen agreed. And I am sorry for that. I know the galaxy feels less safe to you now. The Felixian's fur rippled in a gesture of confusion. That is the strange part. It does not feel less safe. It feels more complicated. I am afraid of humans in a way I was not before. But I also know that when danger came, you did not hesitate to protect us. How do I reconcile those two truths? The same way humans do, Chen said. We live with complexity. We accept that people can be multiple things at once. Dangerous and protective, secretive and loyal, capable of violence and devoted to peace. These things seem contradictory, but they are not. They are just different facets of the same reality. The Felixian was quiet for a moment. Your species confuses me, but I think I still trust you. Does that make me foolish? It makes you brave, Chen said. Trust is always a risk, but it is necessary for any relationship to survive. They sat together in comfortable silence until it was time for the council session to begin. The emergency council meeting was the most attended in history. Every species sent their highest representatives. The chamber was full of nervous energy and uncertain voices. Everyone knew that decisions made today would shape galactic politics for generations. The council chair, an elderly Thaxian named Vex, called the session to order. We are here to address the human question. Humanity has revealed military capabilities far beyond what was disclosed. They have operated intelligence networks without authorization. They have kept secrets that affect all members of the council. We must decide how to respond. Several delegates stood to speak, but the Deltharian Prime Minister was recognized first. He looked older than he had 3 days ago. Grief etched into his features. My cousin is dead, he said, his voice steady despite his pain. The Vryn killed him to prove a point. When it happened, I was angry at everyone. At the Vryn for their cruelty, at the Council for not preventing it, at the humans for keeping secrets. But in the days since, I have had time to think. He looked directly at Chen. The humans saved everyone else. They did it efficiently and without causing additional casualties. They had capabilities we did not know about, but they used those capabilities to protect us, not to dominate us. If they had wanted to conquer the Council, they could have done so at any time. Instead, they chose to be our friends. Friends do not keep secrets, someone called out. All friends keep some secrets, the Prime Minister countered. The question is whether those secrets are kept to harm or to help. I believe humanity kept their military strength hidden, because revealing it would have changed our relationships in negative ways. Some species would have feared them. Others would have tried to exploit them. The humans wanted to be equals, so they pretended to be less than they were. Is that so terrible? The Zephany representative stood. But can we trust them now? They lied for 15 years. What else are they hiding? Chen rose to address the council. You're right to question us. You are right to be angry. We did keep secrets. I will not defend that choice except to say it came from a place of wanting to protect our friendships, not destroy them. She activated her tablet and shared data with the entire council. This is everything. Our complete military breakdown. Ship numbers, troop strength, base locations, everything. We are holding nothing back now. You can see exactly what we are capable of. More than that, we are willing to submit to oversight. Form a committee to monitor human military activities if that makes you feel safer. We will accept restrictions and regulations. We will be transparent going forward. Why now? Vex asked. Why reveal everything now when you could simply continue as before? Because the secret is out, Chen said. And because continuing to hide would only make things worse. You know we are strong now. The only question is whether we will be strong allies or strong threats. We want to be allies. We are willing to prove that through actions, not just words. A delegate from a small species called the Minathi stood. What about the Vryn? What will you do to them? That is for the council to decide, Chen said. We have presented evidence of their crimes. Genetic experiments on unwilling subjects. Murder of a council delegate. Attempted mass hostage-taking. The evidence is overwhelming. But we will not act without council authorization. We serve the council, not our own interests. This statement caused surprised murmurs. Many had expected humans to demand the right to punish the Vryn. Vex looked at the data that Chen had shared. This military strength, it is substantial. By my calculations, humanity could defeat most council members in open conflict. Yes, Chen agreed. We could, but we will not. That is the point. Having power and using power are different things. We have had this capability for 15 years and never used it against any of you. That should count for something. The Thaxian representative spoke up. The humans say they stopped 17 threats we never knew about. I have reviewed the evidence they provided. It is convincing. In each case, they identified a danger and neutralized it before it reached council space. They asked for nothing in return. No payment, no favors, no political advantage. They simply protected us. Perhaps they are making that up, someone suggested. Perhaps those threats never existed. Chen smiled sadly. We kept physical evidence from each incident. Ships we captured, weapons we confiscated, prisoners we interrogated. All of it is available for your inspection. We can prove every claim we have made. We anticipated you would doubt us, so we kept records of everything. Vex considered this. So humanity has been acting as self-appointed guardians of the council. Without asking, without permission. Yes, Chen said. We overstepped. We should have asked. But would you have agreed? Would the council have approved military action against threats that seemed distant or theoretical? Or would you have debated until it was too late? We will never know, Vex said, because you did not give us the chance to try. You are right, Chen admitted. We are guilty of arrogance. We assumed we knew better. We assumed the council could not protect itself. That was wrong. But it was wrong because of overprotectiveness, not malice. We are like the friend who does your work without asking, because we worry you cannot do it yourself. It is insulting and it is wrong. We see that now. The Felixian ambassador stood. I propose a new framework. Humanity will become the council's official peacekeeping force, but they will operate under council oversight. A committee will approve military actions. Humans will provide protection. but the Council will direct how that protection is used. This way, we benefit from their strength while maintaining our sovereignty. Debate erupted. Some delegates loved the idea. Others feared it gave humans too much power. Still others worried it would make the Council dependent on human military might. Hours passed. Arguments flowed back and forth. Chen sat quietly through it all, letting the Council work through their feelings. This was their decision to make. She had said her piece. Finally, Vex called for a vote. All in favor of creating a protected status classification with humanity, designated as the Council's peacekeeping force, subject to oversight and regulation. The vote was close, but it passed. 30 species voted in favor. 14 opposed. 3 abstained. It is decided, Vex announced. Humanity will serve as the Council's military arm. In return, they will submit to oversight and restrictions on independent action. Any military operation must be approved by the Council Security Committee. Is this acceptable, Ambassador Chen? Chen stood and bowed. It is acceptable. We serve at the pleasure of the Council. We will accept all restrictions and oversight. We will be transparent in all operations, and we will continue to protect every member species to the best of our abilities. Then it is done, Vex said. Let the record show that on this day the Council acknowledged humanity's true nature and chose to work with them rather than against them. The session ended. Delegates filed out slowly, still processing everything that had happened. The galaxy had changed. Nothing would be quite the same again.